everyone. I'm Janvi Chitalia, and I'm an integrative gut microbiome expert. Can you hear me at the back? So how many people of y'all over here know about the gut? And do you all know what the gut is? Anybody? No? Yeah? All right. So basically the gut is your intestine, and today I'm here to talk about a very magnificent role that it plays in our health and in the way that we shape up our lives, and the way that we actually can see how we tackle any form or overcome any form of disease that we see. I'm going to start with some interesting facts, and I'm going to make this interactive. Please feel free to participate if you all want to ask something, but I'm going to try and make this something which is informative and enduring for you all to know about. So I think it's just recent times that research has now gotten more and more interest about the gut, and we've realized that the gut is an important organ that we want to understand more about. The interesting part about this is that I think we all have known that every time we know that we have any major, maybe presentations, we have, promotions that are coming up, we have, when you're sitting in an award session like that and you're wondering whether I'm going to get the award, you have this, that butterfly feeling in your stomach. What is that? That is related to how your gut feels, and that is what we're talking about here. So is this organ that we think we know of, we connect all that we feel back to our stomach, but I don't think we give it enough importance. And over the time now, we've realized that any disease from cancer to heart disease today, diabetes, leading obesity, all of these are actually linked back to the way that your gut is functioning. So I think it'll be interesting to know about certain facts that only 10% of our cells are human, and where 90% of our body is actually governed by the bacteria in our body. And we really are actually less of less of a human and more of a superorganism. Also, very, very interestingly, our gut. So the reason why I want to talk more about understanding more about it is so that I can tell you how nutritionally we could make an impact to so many conditions that today people are suffering from, and we can see the sense and bind that together. So each individual is actually 99% identical. It's only that 1% of your gut bacteria that decides whether you are a certain way or not. And is that interesting? And in fact, it's so amazing to even know that your gut bacteria are actually in itself a universe in itself, and they are, they're actually very unique from person to person, just like a fingerprint. So I'm going to tell you what is the microbiome and what is that I'm talking about. Microbiome is basically a small universe that has, a small universe inside our bodies, which is a accumulation of your bacteria, of the viruses, of the pathogens, of the fungi, and all of that makes up our body. Any disease in the body can primarily start anywhere from either your lungs or your gut. So we want to make sure that it's a very, very important organ to take care of, and ensure that it's well functioning is the key to having a healthy, better, and a more successful, productive life. So what is the microbiome impact? It does impact your disease. It impacts the way you feel. So even your productivity at work, your mood, your behaviors can actually get completely affected by the microbiome. Any inflammation. So do we know that inflammation today is the start of any disease? Today, I think most of us over here are also looking at nutrition as really a very beautiful way and a strong way to marry into understanding how we can have better health and have a lifestyle sustainable change where we're trying to be not just disease-free but be more optimally healthy than that. And microbiome actually plays a very major role with that. There is also our immunity that we know is the most important thing. Do you know that 95% of our immunity lies in our gut? So that's also a very important aspect that we should know of. And trust me, it's a matter of fact that a lot of times we don't even realize how much our moods are dependent on the way that our gut is balanced. So it's quite interesting to know that if you are normally not feeling clarity of mind, or you feel a brain fog, a lot of times at work there's a certain amount of tiredness, it could actually be your gut which is taking care of how you're feeling or how you're not feeling. 40% of our toxins are actually cleared by our gut. So everything that you take in from outside, any toxic substances, everything is cleared by our gut. So moving to the next part. So what does the gut really help you do? I'm going to quickly run through this and then actually look at the nutritional part of how it affects your body. So I think today, today in today's time, we're also looking at a lot of diseases that we don't have explanations to. I'm sure in the nutrition industry we all come across, and the wellness industry, we all as have and kind of either have probably suffered something ourselves or seen our close relatives, loved ones, or somebody in our practice who have conditions which don't have an explanation and have varied symptoms. So a lot of times actually we can go back to tracing its origin in the gut, and that's where we could find that inflammation, like we said, could start in the gut, and that's the reason there could be a mix of, so there could be a hormonal imbalance, there could be issue with maybe having, like I said, brain fog, there could be issue with all of these things coming together into one condition, making the person feel a lot less productive than they've always been. And that is when it comes to realizing that how much the gut actually plays a role with digestion. Obviously very important in digestion. It helps obviously to digest fiber. Some of our main vitamins are digested by the body, I'm sure we know. I don't want to go into too much detail of that. Regulate our metabolism, and it also obviously helps us defend ourselves from the bacteria which are not good for us, and it also helps us to take care of our hormones. So I think hormones is a big issue that we're seeing today in terms of hormonal imbalance is a major issue that a lot of men and women today are facing. So also we could find their underpinnings in a dysbiosis or an imbalance of the gut. The gut microbiomes are also key to many other aspects of our immune, metabolic, and neurobehavioral aspects of our health, like I just mentioned. So it's a very important thing for us to know about that. So again, the very important thing is that it's important to understand that our gut is specialized. It's actually a sensory organ, and it's very important to know that we keep it in the best of health in order to make sure that all our signals of our body are functioning well in alignment. A lot of times we also see that people who generally do tend to come with maybe say a complaint of a diabetes are the ones who actually have underlying a major gut dysbiosis, which is the cause for it. And it's not just diabetes which is per se the issue, or blood pressure or cholesterol which is per se the issue. When we look a little deeper and we understand, as in terms of my practice that I do on day to day, I'm seeing about at least anywhere about 25 to 30 people a day who have a gut issue of a different sort, and we realize that a lot of diseases actually start with your digestion not being okay. And so many times we think it's okay to have a digestion where you don't have a clear digestion in terms of having years of issues of constipation or having an irritable bowel syndrome, and we think it's okay. But that is when there is a chance that these manifest into a disease that we don't understand and which becomes a little more of an issue. So I want to play a little more importance about how nutrition really comes up in this entire segment of gut. And I think like we said, that nutrition is, we understand food is medicine, and it's powerful for us to really see the impact of how it can play an entire role in changing the way that we feel. Now, the interesting fact about our gut is that actually even just 2 to 5 days of changing anything that you do in your gut in terms of bringing out or taking away the triggers and actually bringing about anti-inflammatory substances in the body to be able to be assimilated can change your microbiome or the balance of your good and bad bacteria in just 2 to 5 days. So it's amazing the kind of impact your choices that we make today for our food can strengthen the way that our gut behaves and the way that our life and sustainability and the way that our health is through the health of our gut. Also, a very important part of what I work on right now, I've seen that people don't necessarily put two things together in terms of how nutrition is playing a role, even with understanding a lot of things like sleep disorders are things that have become very rampant. People don't get that kind of quality sleep today. That's also a very important aspect that is related back to the gut. It's very interesting to see there are a lot of things that we normally think, okay, oh, I'm just there, I think I'm tired, or this is something to do with the fact that, I probably am very stressed and that's the reason I don't sleep well. That could be one step ahead, understanding about the fact that it's actually your gut which is not balanced, and that's the reason you're not able to sleep well. Another very interesting aspect is today we're seeing more and more issues of migraine. more and more people have a headache, and I think it's normal to have a headache. Again, that has a connection back to the way that your stomach is feeling. A lot of times, like I said, we do not realize that it's okay to feel, maybe have a upset stomach sometimes, so it's okay to feel gas and bloating. A lot of times you feel, yeah, it's a part of how I normally am. Maybe I'm not being that active, but again, that goes back to the way that your body is not only just digesting food but absorbing food, and that can lead to migraines and headaches, which can completely stop the minute you balance your gut. I'm also seeing a lot of people who have respiratory conditions today, anything from asthma to allergic rhinitis to people who have any form of even psoriasis or eczema, coming back to understanding how the gut plays a role in that entire aspect. We always think, okay, dermat will take care of it, maybe we should be on some medication and that should take care of the way that our skin feels, but that's not more than enough. So maybe it'll topically take care of it, but beyond a point, it is really balancing your gut, and basically balancing your gut is what I'm talking about, is with balancing the good bacteria with the bad. So we've heard of bad bacteria. So all bad bacteria in our gut is not bad after all. We want to make sure that we are having the right kind of proportion. That's very important, to have the right kind of proportion of the good bacteria in your gut. Also, another very rampant thing that we are seeing in terms of diseases is mood disorders and autoimmune conditions. So we connectively are working right now on actually autoimmune conditions which have don't necessarily show up very, very clearly in any of the symptoms. And there could be anything from Hashimoto's thyroiditis, could be a Graves' disease, could be many of these autoimmune conditions which can be taken care of by working on the gut. So basically the key to actually working on your gut is to manage something that, manage a way of a lifestyle which helps to reduce inflammation and which helps to reduce or eliminate the triggers which cause inflammation in your gut. Other interesting things, obviously, a hormonal imbalance that we spoke about also has a relation back to gut. And obviously, your blood sugar levels, and that also your thyroid has a very, very strong connection to the gut. Many people here, we know of family members who have thyroid that also has a connection back with the imbalance of the gut. So really talking about, it's a wide spectrum that we see, from anything from sleep to even, like I said, heart disease to cancer to respiratory conditions. All of them fall within the purview of gut. And I think what's important to understand is first to start with identifying that there could be an issue with the way that our intestines are actually working or absorbing. More than anything else, to start with understanding that there is an issue. I think the key here today, why I have chosen this topic, is to create that awareness, because I think that's what we need today, to understand that when I'm thinking of a simple condition, or when we're thinking of, understanding how our whole health profile works, we often forget the contribution of this organ which has supported it's like the center of our life. Our digestion is the root of our life, and I think it's most important that we now come back to realizing what a role that it plays in every single aspect, including the way that we wake up feeling every single day. And I'm sure that we all here, business entrepreneurs and working professionals, believe in being extremely productive and making sure that we can add value to the work that we do every single day. I believe it starts with the way that you feel. And the way that you feel really starts with the way that you eat. And the way that you eat is not enough if you do not absorb enough. So truly you are you are what you absorb, just more than what you eat. And I hope this has empowered you to open your mind up a little bit about how this amazing aspect, which is getting more and more popular now, is a door to better health, better productivity, a really high happiness quotient, and a great way of living. Thank you so much.
May I please invite Dr. Devang Sarvaiya, Head Medical Affairs, CIMS Medica, to please felicitate Ms. Janvi.